Everybody is talking about the promise of AI, right? How it's going to transform every industry, supercharge productivity, and unlock all this incredible growth. But behind all the headlines, there's a very different story playing out. Billions of dollars are being poured into this, but most AI projects are just failing to deliver. So today, we're going to do a kind of pre-implementation autopsy to figure out why. Let's dive in. Here it is. This is the number you really need to wrap your head around. According to a pretty sobering report from MIT, a staggering 95% of generative AI pilots fail to deliver any measurable business impact. Just think about that for a second. With all the hype, all the investment, only 5 out of 100 initiatives are actually producing returns. This isn't just a small problem. It's literally the default outcome.
So what's going wrong here? Is the technology just not ready? Are the algorithms flawed? Well, the research is crystal clear on this. The biggest challenge isn't a technology problem at all. It's an organizational one. The reasons for failure are a lot closer to home than you'd think. And this slide, this really gets to the heart of it. We tend to blame the flashy, visible things, the models, the algorithms, the computing power. But the real culprits, the things that are quietly killing these projects in the background, it's your culture, your governance, your workflow design, and maybe most important of all, your data strategy. Your AI ambitions are almost always going to collide with these internal realities long before they ever hit a technical wall.
Okay, so to really understand this, we need to investigate the conditions that are dooming these projects before a single line of model code is even written. Let's break down the 3 critical failure modes that explain that giant 95% failure rate.
First up, data readiness, or more like the lack of it. So many organizations launch AI projects thinking they're ready to go. They've got the budget, they've picked a vendor, they have a use case. What they consistently don't have is clean, connected data. Their data is a mess. It's fragmented, siloed in different departments, full of duplicates, and just riddled with inconsistencies. And feeding that into an AI doesn't create magic. It just produces structurally unreliable outputs. And man, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? You can have the most advanced, most sophisticated AI on the planet, but it cannot fix the fundamental problem of bad data. It's that classic garbage in, garbage out dilemma, just amplified at an incredible scale. This is a hard limit that no amount of algorithmic genius can get you round. But okay, let's say your data is perfect. You can still fail. The second failure mode is governance misalignment. This happens when your organization isn't actually structured to act on the insights the AI is giving you. The model might flag a huge supplier risk or predict a cash flow gap, but if nobody has both the visibility and the authority to make a decision, well, those valuable insights just die in a dashboard. Insight without action is just really expensive data. The third failure mode, and maybe the most important, is about people. Any AI system that's designed in a boardroom without any meaningful input from the frontline users, the people whose jobs are actually being affected, is doomed. It's going to be ignored, worked around, or even actively undermined. If the folks who use the system every single day don't trust it or weren't part of designing it, it will deliver zero value in the real world. Doesn't matter how accurate the model looks on a spreadsheet. So these 3 big failure modes, they lead to some very common symptoms. You end up with pilot paralysis, where these promising proofs of concept get stuck in a sandbox forever and never make it into production. And you see model fetishism, where teams spend all their time tweaking algorithms while totally ignoring the much harder work of business integration and getting people to actually use it. These aren't the root causes. They're the warning lights on your dashboard telling you your foundations are cracked. Okay, enough of the doom and gloom. It's not all failure. There are companies that are absolutely succeeding, and they leave clues. After looking at dozens and dozens of deployments, it's pretty clear that the winners all follow 4 distinct patterns. So let's flip this around and look at the blueprint for actually getting this right.
The path to success is surprisingly straightforward, and it really just comes down to discipline. 1, you start with a painful business problem, not a cool piece of technology. 2, you fix your data plumbing first. 3, you design for human collaboration, not full automation. And 4, you treat your AI deployment like a living product, not some one-off project. So the single most reliable predictor of success is starting with a really well-defined business pain. Take Lumen Technologies. They didn't start by saying, hey, let's go deploy an AI. They said, our sales team is spending 4 hours on research before every single call, and that's a $50 million a year problem. It was only after they put a number on that pain that they designed an AI solution to fix it. The takeaway here is so crucial. You're here to solve a business problem, not just to play with a cool model.
Pattern 2 is all about resources. And what's really fascinating here is how the winning programs completely flip the typical spending model on its head. Instead of pouring all their money into the model itself, they set aside 50 to 70% of their budget and their timeline for data readiness, getting the data clean, connected, and governed. They fix the plumbing before they even think about turning on the taps. Third, successful projects are all about human-AI collaboration. They augment their teams, they don't try to replace them. Microsoft's sales team is a perfect case study. By using an AI co-pilot to assist them, they actually saw 9.4% higher revenue per seller. The AI suggests email drafts and summarizes meetings, but the human being stays in control. That's what builds trust, and that's what leads to real adoption. And the final pattern is all about ownership. A proof of concept dies because nobody volunteers to support it after the launch party. Successful initiatives treat the AI system like any other serious business product. It has a product manager, it has uptime guarantees, and it has a budget for maintenance and upgrades. It's a living system that needs to be managed and improved over time. So after all that, how do you know if your organization is truly ready for this? I want you to forget the hype for a minute and ask yourself 3 brutally honest diagnostic questions. This is like your pre-flight check before you commit to a massive, expensive initiative. First, data. Can you trace a core process, say a purchase order, from start to finish across all your different systems right now without someone having to manually pull files and stitch data together in a spreadsheet? If the answer is no, your data foundation is not ready. An AI layer won't fix that mess. It will just make it worse. Second question, governance. Who, and I mean what is their name, not what's their department, who has both the visibility into the AI's insights and the explicit authority to act on them within, say, 48 hours. If you can't name that specific person, then you don't actually have a governance model to turn insight into action. And finally, number 3, adoption. Have the people who actually do the work, day in and day out, have they been involved in defining what a successful AI output even looks like? Because if they haven't been treated as co-designers from the very beginning, your risk of adoption failure is sky high, no matter how good the model is. When you put all of this together, the conclusion is pretty much inescapable. In this new era we're entering, success isn't about having the best, most powerful AI. It's about being the best prepared organization. The real work happens before the project ever starts. It's in the data, it's in the governance, and it's in the people. So the final question really isn't whether AI is ready for you, it's whether you are truly ready for it.